Hey folks, Ariel over here. This is a throwback to midsummer. I took the time to film this video and never had time to get it put together. Our lovely chicken flock discovered the garden at the far end of the property pretty much from their barn. There was nothing preventing them from doing this for the past 2 years. They just hadn't. And in the process of liking to dig up bugs, which chickens are very good at, they were digging up other things like our potatoes. Not because they really cared about potatoes, they just were annoying objects in the way of their bug digging. So that was unacceptable. We had already purchased fencing material to build a cross fence on the property because we knew this was likely to happen, but they hadn't found the garden, so it wasn't a problem, so we hadn't gotten to putting it together. So this summer, that became a priority because the garden was growing pretty well and the chickens were on track to destroy it. So the first thing we had to do here was clear the grass away in a straightish line to put the fence up, and then what you're looking at there is a double ditch, swale, berm, whatever you would like to call it, down the full length of the property for irrigation purposes. So right there where Clay's dug out the soil, there is a hump, and to put in a solid fence, we had to kind of dig through that to set the fence in so it could sit level and flattish, and then refill the sod around it in that spot. So anyway, that took some time. He did a lot of weed whacking to get the tall grass that had not been mowed in that. You can't really see the terrain there of the double ditch, but we had to get that moved out of the way. And the white line you're seeing there is our main summer water line that runs the length of the property that has multiple hose bibs on it so we can water things from that. And we had to, sink that into the ground a little bit. It was just laying on the surface because it's only used in the summer. We had to sink that a bit so it was not being crushed by the fence. Then we're finally getting smart because we have been dealing with the quackgrass issue for quite a few years. So where we're putting down a new fence, we put down a big, good, wide, I think that's a 12-foot strip of plastic first, and then set the fence into and on top of it. The idea here is that not only, this was the goal for a long time now, it's just one of the many projects we hadn't gotten to yet, is for this to not only be a cross fence that keeps the chickens out of the garden end of the property while allowing them to free range everywhere else, it will also double as a trellis. And so the plastic will hopefully kill all the grass under there, and by next spring or sometime next year, I would like to plant raspberry starts. I've got an acquaintance here in the neighborhood who's got quite a few extra raspberry plants, and she offered to give me starts, so I'd like to plant raspberry starts up and down both sides of that fence, right through the plastic so that they'll be protected from the grass, and get that going as a raspberry trellis, at which point you won't be just looking at the fence. And then kind of out from the raspberries, I think we'll put quite a few strawberry plants, because I showed you guys a couple years ago how easy it was to start new strawberry plants from runners. So again, I think I'll just cut little holes in the plastic when we're ready to do that next year and plant directly through it. And then you won't be looking at either the fence or that lovely plastic stripe down the center of the property. And hopefully that will hold up long enough. This is pretty heavy plastic. It's what I know of as ag bag. That long enough that the strawberries and raspberries can get well enough established that the quackgrass cannot choke them out. So that was one of our summer projects. This is a throwback. Things are not that green. They're frozen now, but I'm finally getting around to putting this together. As you can see, the chickens were desperate to find the hole in the fence, the gate area, and go directly through it. We don't have a real gate. It's a chunk of fence panel made to swing. My brother did show up there after work when we were putting the gate in, and you can see here in a minute how it works to just swing back and forth. It kind of sits on the ground, and that's been working fine. So that is how we got our cross fence done in the property, and the plans for what it's going to turn into by next year, hopefully. Thanks for spending your valuable time with us.
I hope you learned something interesting and useful.
Or found something beautiful here.